Hello everyone. Now we are going to discuss about another international policy that is called UNCRPD. The Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities is an international human rights treaty of the United Nations that makes the rights and dignity of persons with disabilities. It intended that the person with disabilities enjoys full equality under the law. As per this treaty, they are full and equal members of society. The convention was the first human rights treaty of the 21st century. UNCRPD emphasizes the importance of mainstreaming disability issues as an integral part of relevant strategies of sustainable development. It is realized that PWD continue to face barriers in their participation as equal members of society and violation of their human rights in all parts of the world. Let's see what is the purpose of the convention. To promote, protest and ensure the full and equal enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedom by all persons with disabilities and to promote respect for their inherent dignity. History of the UNCRPD. UN declared the year from 1981 to 1992 as the years for the person with disabilities, and UNCRPD treaty discussion occurs in this phase. A committee formed to know about the rights and problems, and the committee recommended forming a treaty between the countries to ensure full rights for the people with disabilities. Sweden and Italy gave the outline of the treaty, but no decision was taken on that, but denied by the members of UN that they have enough rule and law for that time. In 2000, the five biggest NGOs working for the welfare of PWD appealed to the United Nations to adopt an international treaty to ensure the rights of persons with disabilities. Definition of disability. The convention adopts a social model of disability and defines disability as including those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual or sensory impairments which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. Basic information of UNCRPD. This was adopted by UN General Assembly on 13th December 2006. Opened for signatories on 30th March 2007. In the history of the United Convention to receive the highest number of signatories on its opening day. The condition was that it should be signed and ratified by at least 20 countries. As I said, ratified, so let's see what it is. To pass the bill in their parliament and should be accepted, then it is said to be ratified. In India, it was ratified on 1st October 2007. After signatories and ratification by 20 countries, it came into force on 3rd May 2008. As of November 2019, the total signatories are 163 and 181 parties, which include 180 states and the European Union. Moving further with the content of UNCRPD conventions. It has 25 paragraphs stating why it is formed and its purpose. In paragraph number 11, all the countries accepted that PWDs face problems and are undertreated, and all the countries should provide equal rights to them. It has a set of 50 articles in which principles, purpose, and how to implement the UNCRPD in the whole world have been discussed. The articles of the UNCRPD are based on 8 general principles: respect for inherent dignity and individual autonomy, including the freedom to make one's own choices and independence of persons, non-discrimination, including reasonable accommodation, full and effective participation and inclusion in society, respect of difference and acceptance of PWD as part of human diversity and humanity, equality of opportunity, accessibility, equality between men and women, respect for evolving capacities of children with disabilities, and respect for the right of children with disabilities to preserve their identities. These principles are applied across all types of disability and multiple sectors of society. Now, let's see what is mentioned in the Article 6 for the women with disabilities. It is said that state parties recognize that women and girls with disabilities are subject to multiple discrimination, and in this regard shall take measures to ensure the full and equal enjoyment by them of all human rights and fundamental freedoms. It is suggested that women should have equal rights. States parties shall take all appropriate measures to ensure the full development and empowerment of women. Now, let's see what does CRPD say about the education of children with disabilities in Article 7. The countries will make sure that children with disabilities have the same rights as other children. Make sure that what is best for the child is a priority whenever they do anything that concerns children. Make sure that children with disabilities have the right to tell their opinion and that their opinion is considered. Make sure that children with disabilities get the help they need to tell their opinion. In Article 8, which is related to raising awareness, state parties undertake to adopt immediate, effective, and appropriate measures. Number 1, to raise awareness throughout society, including at the family level regarding persons with disabilities, and to foster respect for the rights and dignity of persons with disabilities. And number 2, to promote recognition of the skills, merits, and abilities of persons with disabilities and of their contribution to the workplace and the labor market. Next one is fostering at all levels of the education system, including in all children from an early age, an attitude of respect for the rights of persons with disabilities. Encouraging all organs of the media to portray persons with disabilities in a manner consistent with the purpose of the present convention. Last one is promoting awareness training programs regarding persons with disabilities and the rights of persons with disabilities. Now we look at Article 24, that is related to education. The countries agree that all people with disabilities have the right to education. They will make sure that in education system at all levels includes people with disabilities and that the educational systems works to make sure everyone develops their human potential, sense of dignity and self-worth and respect for human rights, freedoms and diversity. Works to develop the person's personality and talents to their fullest potential. Works to make sure all people with disabilities can be involved in society. To do this, the countries will make sure that people with disabilities are not excluded from education because of their disability, and children with disabilities are not excluded from free and compulsory primary and secondary education because of their disability. All people with disabilities can choose education that includes them, is accessible, and is in their own community. Reasonable changes are made to make sure that people with disabilities get the most out of their education. People with disabilities get the help they need to get the maximum of their education. To help for students with disabilities is given so that their individual needs are met. Next point is the countries will make it possible for people with disabilities to learn social and life skills that they need to go to school and be in the community. They will do this by arranging that students with disabilities learn braille or other types of communication and that they get peer support and mentoring. Teaching sign language, making sure that especially children who are blind, deaf or deaf-blind are educated in the most appropriate types of communication so that they get the most out of their education. And to help make sure that these rights are put into practice, the countries will hire teachers who are people with disabilities, teachers who are qualified in braille and sign language, and will train teachers and staff at all levels of education on how to give quality education to people with disabilities. Next point is countries will make sure that people with disabilities have equal access to vocational training, study in universities and lifelong learning like all other people, and will make any changes needed to make that happen. So in this way, today we have seen an international policy, Uncrpd. Thanks for listening.